Meet Patinosaurus. She's a flying reptile. She's got a 2-foot wingspan, a beak full of sharp teeth, and she's big on eating bugs. They're called placerias. They may look like dinosaurs, but they're not. They're 12 feet long, and they use their sharp tusks to forage and fight. This is Coelophysis. He's an early dinosaur who's only 10 feet long. He's on 2 legs instead of 4, and he's built for speed. Cynodon has legs like a reptile, hair like a mammal, and is the best the Triassic can do when it comes to cuddly. Postosuchus. She's 20 feet long, weighs 2,000 pounds, and she's the Triassic's top predator. Diplodocus average 90 feet long. The females lay about 100 eggs at a time, and they're big salad eaters. His name is Ornitholestes. He's only the size of a man, but has 5-inch fingers with a mean grip. And he likes his eggs raw. Meet Stegosaurus. He's 30 feet long. That's bigger than a garbage truck. He has a deadly spiked tail, and he knows how to use it. Allosaurus. He's 20 feet long, a killer carnivore, and has expandable jaws for taking megabytes of meat. And it won't be his last. Liopleurodon. Long name, longer body. 80 feet long. Throw in some 10-foot jaws, and boy, are we happy he's extinct. Of an easier name. Meet Cryptocleidos. 26 feet long with a snake-like neck. Also known as the speed demons of the deep. Jurassic dolphins? Nope, just Ophthalmosaurus. 15 feet long, eyes as big as softballs, and obviously capable of doing one mean dolphin impression. That's no pelican. It's Rhamphorhynchus, a flying reptile. He's got a 6-foot wingspan, and he loves to fish. Sincerely hope you don't. Prehistoric sharks, survivors extraordinaire, flashing their killer jaws over 200 million years before the dinosaurs. Some grow as big as 40 feet. And of course, they've always had a taste for blood. That's why they're so much smaller than their cousins on the continents. Meet Eustreptospondylus. He's 15 feet long, about the same length as a giraffe. This 500-pound beachcomber is not a picky eater. He's a scavenger. Meet Ornithocheirus, the most terrifying pterosaur in the air. At 10 feet tall with a 40-foot wingspan, he's wider than a small airplane. See, starts soon. Iguanodon is a plant eater that can grow to about 30 feet. Unlike most dinosaurs, he's got 5-fingered hands. One of those fingers is a deadly thumb spike. But he's actually just a sweet, plant-eating dinosaur called Polacanthus. He's 14 feet long, which is as big as an SUV. He's got a thick coat of bony armor with sharp spikes, and it all adds up to bite at your own risk. Scientists be Cretaceous carnivore checking you out. That peeping dinosaur is called Utahraptor. 20 feet long and bad to the bone. His 15-inch claws make him the Captain Hook of the Cretaceous. Some say Utah raptors were the deadliest of all dinosaurs. It takes to survive. Lielanosaura can grow up to 6 feet long, but only weigh 22 pounds. That's only about the same weight as a turkey. And thanks to a huge pair of eyes, they've got super night vision for the long, dark polar winter. It's Koolasuchus. At 16 feet long and around 1,000 pounds, this mutant tadpole is no threat to the land speed record. But in the water, he's got a lethal lunge and a mouth that can finish the job. So what's he doing out? Hideous. Meet the polar Allosaurus. At 20 feet, this Cretaceous predator is a third smaller than his old Jurassic cousins. But don't underestimate him. He's a vicious migratory predator, and he comes down from the north every spring for some of that famous southern stick-to-your-ribs home cooking. And look at that, and then gorge themselves on it. Ah, the mighty Muttaburrasaurus. 30 feet long, weighing in at 4 tons, and sporting jaws and teeth that rip through shrubbery like a walking wood chipper. But even burns to sucking. Meet Coatimundi. He's from the raccoon family, and he's been sucking eggs for millions of years. Go see for yourself. South America's still crawling with Coatimundis today. The biggest name in dinosaurs is also the biggest carnivore to ever walk the earth. 17 feet tall and 45 feet long. That's half the length of a basketball court. And those monster jaws can bite off 150 pounds of meat in one bloodthirsty bite. It's one of the cuddliest. Meet Didelphodon, one of the largest mammals of the dinosaur age. Over 3 feet long. As an early marsupial, the female sports a pouch, just like a possum or kangaroo. Food-wise, they eat plants, animals, you name it. They're omnivorous, so they eat it all. Torosaurus is 25 feet from tip to tail. That's even longer than a stretch limo. With those 3 nasty horns sticking out from its face, it looks kind of like a triceratops, with a 9-foot head. There's never been a land animal with a bigger skull. And dromaeosaurs. Meet Dromaeosaur. He's 6 feet of pure speed. He grabs his victims with his front claws, then guts them with a 3-inch foot claw. He's the ninja warrior of the dinosaur age. Titans. 40-foot leaf eaters. They've got nearly 1,000 back teeth for chewing. Their flat snouts make them part of the family of hadrosaurs, or duck-billed dinosaurs. In fact, Anatotitan means giant duck. All over the place. Meet Ankylosaurus. He's a 30-foot dinosaur with so much body armor, even his eyelids are bony plates. His tail's a deadly weapon that he swings like a 10-foot club. But
on forever. And that makes Leptictidium one extremely happy Eocenester. She's a furry mammal, and at 3 feet long, she's the same size as a medium-sized dog. But when it's time to jet, these little guys don't run, they hop. Deadly birds. And no one's deadlier than Gastornis. This ferocious, feathered fiend is 7 feet tall. She packs 1,000 pounds. And with that foot-long, bone-snapping beak, she makes today's birds of prey look like a bunch of harmless chickadees. Because that's just camouflage for a prime-time predator. Meet Ambulocetus. At 10 feet, this hulking slab of carnivore would fill up your entire canoe, if he didn't eat it first. He's also a warm-blooded mammal. And believe it or not, he's the ancestor of every last whale in the ocean today. But right now, he's lakeside. Line delivers. Say hello to Propaleotherium. She's a mammal and one of the earliest horses on the planet. But put away your saddle. She's only 12 inches high at the shoulder. I've seen bigger cats, but a monster had to come along and take their place. Believe it or not, this monster is a mammal. Basilosaurus is an early whale, actually. She's 50 feet long, same as 5 elephants lined up tail to trunk. It takes 200 pounds of fish every day to keep her full. And her favorite flavor is shark. The animal is called Brontotherium. At 9 feet high, he's twice the size of a rhino. In fact, his closest modern-day cousins are rhinos and horses. But rhino horns are made of keratin, the same stuff as hair. A Brontotherium's horn is built from bone. Sarcus. This carnivore is 6 feet high. That's as tall as a horse. He's the biggest meat-eating land mammal in history. He might look like a cross between a leopard and a wolf, but his closest modern cousins are actually sheep and goats. Can't. It's Miratherium. His nose is actually a small trunk, which makes him part of the elephant family. At 6 feet long, he's as big as your refrigerator. They are Dorodon. Their name means spear-toothed. And this 16-foot-long carnivorous whale likes nothing more than to sink that mouth full of spears into small fish. Goes by the name Indricothere. The closest modern relative of this beast is the rhinoceros. But rhinos are runts compared to this mighty ancestor. She's a full 23 feet of prehistoric mammal. And at 12 tons, she weighs 6 times as much as one puny rhino. These glowing eyes belong to Hyenodon. They're meat eaters, vicious carnivores that stand 4.5 feet tall. That's twice the size of a lion. Plus, they've got 4-inch long saber teeth, backed up by a 6 set of bone-crushing jaws. And tonight, he's Calicothere. At 10 feet, this plant eater's as tall as a basketball hoop. He walks on his knuckles like a gorilla. But his closest relatives today are horses, rhinos, and tapirs. But none of them. He's big, about 6.5 feet high. He's bad, with 3-foot jaws that could bite a man in half. But he's not too bright, because when you're a scavenger, you don't have to be. He prefers to eat stuff that's already dead. Bear of bear dog. And sure, they're only a foot high, but every inch is grade A vicious predator. Like the name says, they're related to bears and dogs. They live in caves or other natural enclosures called dens, a habit that modern bears also picked up. And right now, a hominid we call Australopithecus. Full-grown adults are only about 5 feet tall. Brain-wise, they're about as smart as modern-day chimpanzees. But our prehistoric ancestors can do something that no chimps can do. Stand up straight and walk on 2 feet. It's not who you think. This is Dinotherium. He's over 13 feet tall and probably weighed about 8 tons. That's even heavier than today's elephants. 2 huge tusks stick out of his massive chin. Very useful for scraping bark off trees for food. Good a threat to Australopithecus, though. They're peaceful plant eaters called Ensilotherium. On all fours, they're 7 feet tall, but they can rear up on their back legs to nibble leaves much higher than that. The official word is they're extinct. In the remotest parts of Africa, though, legend has it there are still a few out there, like an African version of the Loch Ness Monster. But back in the Pliocene, cat is built to kill. Dinofelis is a prehistoric saber-toothed cat. 3 feet high at the shoulder, he's about the size of a modern jaguar. He kills like a jaguar too, by sinking his teeth right into his victims' skulls. So, no one wants to get left behind. Eating terror birds. Beware of Forus raucus. 10 feet tall and every inch a carnivore. That's where the terror part comes in. These birdies eat meat. They didn't go extinct until about 8,000 years ago. That means before they checked out, Forus raucus could have hunted down a few of us. Meaning of terror. Welcome to Smilodon's world. 650 muscle-packed pounds, backed up by 8-inch long, meat-ripping fangs. He's the biggest saber-toothed cat in history. Even no one's sinking their sabers into Didacurus. This heavily armored mammal is a distant relative of our modern armadillo. He's just a little bit bigger, though, about the size of an RV. At 15 feet long and 1.5 tons, he weighs as much as 300 of his modern cousins. It looks giant. Megatherium is his name, and he's a whopping 12 feet tall. He weighs 8,000 pounds. That's about as much as a modern Asian elephant, and over 200 times more than his closest living relative, the modern sloth. And even the most finicky eaters love Macrocenia. 10 feet tall and about as fast as a horse, but no match for the top predators. These vegetarians probably use their impressive noses for grabbing leaves, and some experts say early humans might have hunted these herds to extinction. Female Smilodon has the answer. He's the woolly mammoth, and mammoth he is, at 10 feet tall. Throw in a shag coat that grows 3 feet long in the winter, plus 16-foot tusks, and they can match up with the chilliest the Ice Age has to offer. They call Pleistocene Europe home. Say hello to Cro-Magnon. About 40,000 years ago, they strolled out of Africa, and next thing you know, they were all over Europe. Since they don't have nature's insulation, they stay warm by wearing clothes and building shelters. They also make fires to heat those homes. Heck, each other. Make way for Megaloceros. These relatives of modern deer are almost 6.5 feet tall, about the same size as today's moose. But show me a moose with 12-foot wide antlers. In fact, those babies are so wide, in a dense forest, Megaloceros can't fit between the trees. So what's a mean-looking sucker, too? Meet the cave lion. This cat's 4 feet high at the shoulder, even bigger than his famous cousin, the African lion. He lives for meat, but especially horses, reindeer, and if he can swing it, the occasional early human. But all those meals must seem like migrating Cro-Magnon. These guys live here year-round. This is Neanderthal. Like the Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal came to Europe from Africa. And now, they've been here for 500,000 years. Their bodies are totally adapted to the cold, with heavy bones, big muscles, barrel chests, and some of those wide, air-warming nostrils. And if you're looking for a carnivore, this is your guy. Neanderthal eat nothing but meat. Now, unlike the creative Cro-Magnon, have to steer clear of this guy. The woolly rhino is known for being very grumpy and large. Thanks to that big old shoulder hump, he's 6.5 feet high. He's got a 3-foot spike for a nose horn. And when he charges, he's coming at 28 miles an hour. The world's fastest human today only clocks in at around 22. Fortunately, Rhinos like this have lousy vision,